A little bit of behind the scenes looks, guys. Behind the scenes, this is. I've got to put on my corporate jumper, plus it's a bit nippy in here. Not that cold, but you know. Now, let's get into it. This is behind the scenes. This is the bit I edit out. Tuck that in because it annoys me if I don't. Okay, how do I look? Before I do anything, I've made myself a cocoa. One of my two favourite mugs. This is Baron Flight's mug. Oh, it's lovely. And because my other mug being Dad's RC hanger mug, which I suppose I could drink too. It's so good. It's red hot. What am I doing today? That's a good question. Shall I have a practice? Hi guys, Cliff here. Welcome back to part 11 of the Let Off Lunak build. Yeah, that sounds plausible, doesn't it? Okay. Hi guys, Cliff here. Thanks for looking back in on part 11 of the what is it? It's a let off. Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to part 11 of the Let Off Lunak glider build. And today I'm going to be fiberglassing the fuselage. And I've been promising this for the last 2 episodes, but now I think I'm finally ready. There's no putting it off. I've got a bit of paper here. Now, asking the chaps in the club where they got their supplies from, Bucks Composites in UK anyway, not down this end, it's up the other side. They're in, they got a website, buckscomposites.com, as it says there, with a hyphen in the middle, and they're actually in anyway, there's somewhere. Anyway, Graham there, really useful guy, and he sent me a box full of stuff. Oh, let me bend you down. In fact, I'll bend you right down onto the work table. Just about there, I think. As you can see, I've got the fuselage ready, and let me swap glasses. These are a bit further out. Oh, I beg your pardon, they were the right glasses. What am I like? So what's Graham sent me? Well, I've got 2 weights of cloth, 25 grams and 50 grams, well, nearest damn it, 49 grams per square metre, that is. 2 metre long, 1 metre wide, so absolutely loads. And what I plan to do is to put the 49 gram on the front half of the fuselage and the 25 gram on the rear half. If it needs more, I'll give it a second layer, but we'll see. I've got the resin itself, L285 resin and hardener. That should be absolutely plenty for my needs. I've got gloves, mixing pots, mixing sticks, and there's a sort of business card there, but I wonder if that's for spreading the resin. Could be. And yeah, I've got some stippling sticks, paint brushes that is. They're only cheap because you don't wash them out, you throw them out. I've got rollers because you can roller it as well as stipple it. I did watch well, I'll tell you in a minute. And of course I've got some trays to roller the resin into, because again you can't clean them out, you throw them out. And another little box of, well, this one's other size sticks, well, they're the same size actually. So there we are, lots of lovely stuff to get on with. Not sure what I'm going to quite use. I did watch a video, when you back up, I did watch a video about 2-3 weeks ago maybe. Is that too high for you? I'm not sure. I did watch a video about 3 weeks ago on how to do all this stuff. I really ought to watch it again, but I think I can basically remember what's going on. So me just put my box here a minute. This is a first for me, and I know some of you guys are interested to see how I get on. I was waiting for a video from Dom at Essential RC, who's done exactly this on his new jet he's building. But he hadn't put it up yet, so I can't wait any longer. So I just wanted to, I thought if I watch Dom doing it, I can save me watching any more videos. Haven't watched them anyway. That cocoa's delish. So yeah, let's just bend you back down. So basically, very basically, I go into fiberglass down from the skid over to here, and should I go right over here or shall I end it there? Tempted to end it here. I've also got to go around the front as well, of course. Might be worth putting something in the tow hook to stop it filling up with epoxy. That wouldn't be too clever, would it? So can I put in there a bit of cotton wool or something? Something like that. Something's got to go in there anyway. The epoxy, I've got a working time of, what did it say, 50 minutes. So plenty of working time there. Let's get out one of each for starters. How hard can this be, eh? How hard can it be? Well, everyone says it's pretty easy. I think from what I read a couple of weeks ago, you don't prepare the fuselage at all. You don't put a coat of, oops, you don't put a coat, let me get a spare one out just in case. You don't put a coat of anything on it because it'll stop the epoxy from soaking into the fuselage. You could put one layer of epoxy on, let it dry, but then you'll put in an extra heavy weight of layer of epoxy on, which you really don't need to do. The other thing you've got to do is to, once the epoxy's on and spread, is to lift off as much epoxy as possible once it's wet and coming through. So I've got to lift off as much epoxy as I can with paper towels, whatever. Now I'll only know from experimentation what size pots to use. Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20. Well, it's 25 mils the whole pot. That's probably going to be enough to do this area. I mean, I could do the whole lot in 25 and then put some 50 over the top. Being in front of CG, I reckon I'm going to need nose weight, so I may as well use plenty of weight from this. So if I fill that up to the top with hardener, that's a lot, isn't it? So if I fill up, say, 10 mil of hardener, that will mean I need, it's quite important to get the ratios right. What size gloves these are? Big enough, good. What are these, graduated as well? Yeah, 10. Better get a brush ready as well, and I cut a piece of glass cloth, get that ready. I'll use a small one to start, I think. Normally when I fiberglass years ago, you was stippling action like that. You can't do that as you'll pull the grains of the cloth up. So I'm saying I'm going to start with, just wondering if I ought to start with 25, you know, and then put a 50 over the top. It won't hurt. Well, I'll call it 50, it's actually 49, but let's have a look at it. I put that there like an advert. I'm so pleased with Graham's service. He's got 5-star reviews all over, so he's obviously a good guy to promote. And I think my stuff came the day after I ordered it, so it was really fast. So this is the 25 grams per square meter. Beautiful, isn't it? It's like silk. Look at that. It's not the fiberglass cloth I remember using. That was really thick and heavy. Well, it was cast stuff. Right. Beautiful. Thing is, if I do go all the way down, I guess I really want to cut that so as it's split to 2 halves. Gorgeous, isn't it? There is a step. That was another reason to do it half and half. I've got a step, a 1/64th step here and a 1/64th step here. Although it's sanded, I thought if I'm going to bring the glass up to a certain point, then it may as well be where the step is, and that'll save a bit of filler, but I don't think it really matters. Now, before I mix anything, I must remember to fill that toe release. Now, I could do the bottom half of the fuselage and have the join down here, and then that will be a double thickness there. Let me make some decisions and make some preparation, and I'll be back, guys. Hey, good fun. Okay, guys, so I've just been checking online, and it's a good idea to make sure the fuselage is completely filled before you put the glass on. I thought I could put the glass on and then sort of fill it here and there, but it's a good idea to try and get the fuselage filled before you put the glass on, and then you can titivate any low areas. So on the strength of that, I'm not going to do the glass in now. I'm going to get some filler and start putting some filler on the fuselage, just basically around the front end. Let me show you. Especially this area. There is some filling, slight filling to do. There's a bit there, wants to be filled before I glass. So I'm going to put all this away and get some filler and start filling it all and sanding. So it looks like this could be a long video. So I'm just putting some filler on, guys. It's stopping filler actually, so it's only good for shallow fills, but it's pretty shallow anyway, so it's not a problem. So we'll see how we get on with this. Just put a bit more on this side. Just putting it on these joints here. I've also watched a couple more videos now on glassing, so I feel confident to crack on and have a good go at that. On Pete Carpenter's build, the guy that moulded me the cockpit, he decided when he built his version of this was to plank the fuselage and not do the infills, insets, which is just as much work at the end of the day, but just another way to do a job, isn't it? There's many ways to build glider fuselages. When you're putting any sort of filler on like this, you want to scrape off as much as you can, otherwise you're just, you know, having to sand a lot more off. Well, this knifing putty seems to dry really well, guys, so I'm just taking it down It's sanding very nicely actually, so I'm glad I used it. Hasn't shrunk too much either, so what I'm feeling is pretty much a smooth surface. What's good about it, let me just move this out of the way. I was just doing a live stream, so it means that I can now crack on with the fiberglass in. Once I've cleared it, tidied it all up a bit. Just got to do this little bit on the tail end and we'll be ready to start glassing. Okay, that's good. That's everything. Just got to get all this dust off and then I can get back to where I was earlier on with offering up the fiberglass sheet and looking at quantities, etc. So thanks for watching. I'll be back when I'm ready to start. So I've sanded it, I've wiped it dust free. So what I've done, I've just laid some of the 25 gram of glass over the whole fuselage, and by smoothing it causes static and it sort of grips to the fuselage a bit, but I think you've got to use your bare hands for that. So I think it's ready. I've cut a slit and put that around there, so that should be okay now. So I'm going to mix up some resin. It says here it's 2 to 1. It says once mixed, put the activated resin and hardener into a larger area to prevent heat build-up. This will also give you a longer working time. So I'm going to transfer it into the roller tray. I'm going to use a small roller and then I'm going to start rolling it on. You want to soak the resin, not too much, but you must look out for dry patches, and then afterwards I shall dab on. You can use toilet roll or whatever you've got just to remove the excess resin, especially on this half because it's the tail end. So I think I'm ready, guys. I think I'm ready. I'm not going to mix up too much resin to start. On the mix up, well, it's 2 to 1, so I'm going to put in 200 ml to start and 100 of the hardener. See how far that takes me, because I'm new to this, as you know. It should be more than enough actually, but until you start you don't know, do you? Okay guys, let's do it. Turn that around a minute. Oops. Okay, where do you start? I'm going to start back here, I think. That's fun, very satisfying. You could use a brush. I watched a video online earlier on. The chap was saying there's no correct way to do this. Just do it your own way. And pop that in the video, shall we? And what works for you. Definitely a good idea to have a light on though behind you. Oh, by the way, this gives me about 50 minutes working time. If you've got a light on behind you, you can see any dry or wet patches. Any areas that are actually still shiny and glass fibery looking haven't been soaked enough yet. I'm going to take this right up around to the spine and from there just leave it hanging out. You don't finish it, and then tomorrow when it's dry just put a blade on it and trim it off, sand it smooth and put the other side on. I'll just work on this little bit in front of you for the minute. Bend you down a little bit. About there. Oh, there's loads of videos online how to do this. But I'm telling you the reason I'm doing it this way and why I'm doing it certain ways. I'm doing it this way so as I can put on an extra thicker layer on the front of. You could use the same weight, but I'll use some of the 50 gram and then it'll get it nice and solid on the front where it's going to take any bashes from landing, and also gives it more nose weight, which is what we want. I think. Brush out from the middle outwards, by the way. I'm just soaking the cloth for a minute, and then I'll turn it. I'll try and do it lengthwise then. I think I'm probably going to have to mix up some more resin. Let's see. I'll make sure it's well down into that join there. Might use the brush there. Whilst I can wash everything out, I can't wash out the roller because it's really not worth it. Bubble there. This is a very therapeutic thing to do, I've got to say. Got to get this past the halfway line. think I might use the brush now just to get into these little tricky sort of areas. Stipple it. I used to using fiberglass resin for fiberglassing things from years ago when I used to play a lot with cars, but never used epoxy on fiberglass. Need to cut that as well. Might have to mix up a smidgen more, guys, just to wet it a little bit more. Actually, no, let's just cut straight in. Just trying to round it round the nose here. More than halfway. If I can get more than halfway with both sides, then I can overlap it. Little wrinkle there, so it might come out. Well, I think, guys, that is probably about it. Just a little tiny bit of wrinkles to smooth out, but I think pretty much there. I'd say it was quite an easy thing to do. Got to put a fillet in there yet. Let's just see how the mopping goes. So I've got some wet there, I can see, so just lay on some, it's not the one I've set by, lay on some tissue. That, and remove it. You take off any surplus epoxy that you don't need. Now I'm not going to do that to the front because I want surplus epoxy on the front. So what I'll do, I'll just go around tidying up any little tiny bits of areas that I think would benefit from tidying up. Okay, we'll let that set off, guys, and we'll come back to it tomorrow and see exactly what we've got. Wasn't too tricky, was it? Now I used in total then 300 ml of material, 300 ml of resin just to do the side, one side. But considering you got all those curves, yeah, it went round pretty well, I think. I'll just tidy this back bit up and then I'll see you tomorrow for the trimming off and doing the other side, I suppose. Cheers, guys. Okay, guys, next morning and it's dried. So I've got to trim accordingly. So pretty sharp blade here, we'll use this. Oops. That seems to be going all right. He said, just want to get it going, then I can sand the edge off. wasn't too good. On the continue back over here, you have to excuse my arm. Nice. I'll use that somewhere else. Come down the back end before we turn it over. There we go. Pretty smart, guys, pretty smart. Wasn't that I was stingy with the cut on this, it's just I hadn't actually planned to go over the skid, but it went over so easily. I'm gonna, I think I can just stick that to it. I'm going to add some heavier weight fiberglass on the front end, so whether I go over the skid or not, I don't know. Depends how well it actually conforms to the fuselage shape. Right, that's it then, guys. I'm happy with that. That's trimmed. I'll just mix up a bit more resin to do the other side, slightly more than I need. Then I can just go around here a little bit, tidy it all up. Yeah. That is just so gorgeous to feel. Beautiful. Right, let's cut the other side. Back in a bit. A new roller. Put a couple of bits of tape on here just to stop it rolling around, so as I guaranteed I got an overlap. So I start in the middle and roll it out to the edges. And you watched me do it last time. So what I'll do, I'll come back to you in a couple of minutes when I've got this a bit more advanced. We'll have another look. Right then guys, there we go. I've Didn't go on quite as well as the other side, but it'll all come out in a wash, as they say. It'll come out when I sand it and give it a second coat on the front end. So we'll let that set off and come back to it probably this evening. Well, if I put it on the bias, if that would help, because this cloth is running lengthwise, so if it was on the bias it would add strength, wouldn't it? Do you know what, I think I might try it on the bias like that. Can't hurt, can it? It won't hurt, that's for sure. So let's just move things along a bit, and I'm going to go back to somewhere under the wing, and if it's on the bias, the CG's here, so everything forward it is acceptable, isn't it? So if I want it on the bias, I'm going to have to cut it something like that, and it can go back at an angle then, and no reason why it shouldn't. So we're looking at about that. Let me just put a peg on there a minute, just to stop that from moving too much. Right, are these scissors sharp enough? Just want to go about halfway really, and that will do. So I'll cut it across here. Put that up there. Now, no doubt about it, it's lovely stuff. Let's cut that surplus off as well, I think. Well, I thought to go all the way around this time, join it down on the side. I think I will actually. Yeah, it's a good idea. I'll go right over the top. Right. In fact, I can leave that there, that peg, because I can just start putting the epoxy right there on the nose. So make sure it's all in place still, about there. Of course, being a heavier weave, it might soak up a lot more of the epoxy, and I'll run out. I can mix up some more. Gotta wet it enough to actually go through the cloth. Wetted enough. I can see I'm going to need to mix up some more of this, you know. Let's take that off now. Nice. Isn't that beautiful? So satisfying. It really is. I'm just going to cut this cloth to go around there, I think. Stand up. Yeah, it's coming off from the thickness of this bit of ply is keeping it off. I might end up having to cut that around, I think, to keep it down tight. But let's just crack on for a minute longer. I don't have to dab it off on the front because I want the weight. What I'll do, I'll just take it down to about there, say, then I can cut that off straight and then sand it in. I know some of you guys are a lot more experienced with this technique than me. I'm very inexperienced, but it's very enjoyable and it's not rocket science. Even Mr. Musk could do it. Now on this skid, I might just go into the skid because I've got a good layerage on the skid with the lighter weight cloth. So, and as it doesn't want to stick into the corner, that might be a good thing to do. I'm slightly concerned how easy it's going to be to cut once it's been wet. So we'll find out soon, won't we? Don't know if that cut or not. Let's have a look. Oh, it did. Let's just break that off. Okay, that's good. Just go down there and get rid of that. Okay, this is working, I'm pleased to say. I was slightly worried that apart from the obvious, just keeping it pressed down there for the minute, I think that will just about do it. And that is the heavyweight cloth on the nose. And in a minute, when that's dry, I'll trim it off and do the other side. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's gone on really well. Let's just say hello to the camera. There we are. Hello, camera. 35 minutes of live streaming for those that are members, and with a bit of luck, this will go off, quite quickly. And I can trim it up and get the other side done, and we'll join you back online again later on today. It's currently about 2:45, so we'll see how we get on. Cheers guys, thanks for watching, bye. Here we go, live from England. Make sure that's in the right place before I start, because at the other side I've gone all the way round and it ends about here, so I'll overlap it, but I've sanded the join smooth. So here we go. Let's get on with it. Gently roll it in. It's very therapeutic actually doing this. Of course, I've had to sand the fuselage, roughly getting off any high spots, because there's no point in putting glass on top of stuff that needs sanding. Just pressing into there with the back of the scalpel. Someone laughed at my scalpel the other day. Okay, it's a bit, I've had it a long time, and sometimes the blade comes out and it's covered in epoxy and goodness knows what, and this is why. But someone said, can't you buy a new scalpel? What do I need a new scalpel for? This is brilliant. So I'm just going to cut into there, and it's going to have loads of filler on it anyway, so even if it wasn't quite perfect, it will be when it's done. Oh, still not cut that. Get rid of that. And just put that down there. Should trim down there. Trim down there. Sticky. So cut through. Oh, look at that. One little strand. Now, let's see if that will come off in one go. Oh, one tiny little strand there. There we go. That looks nice, doesn't it? So there is a cut there, and that'll sound smooth. And then when I put some the filler primer on it, it'll be tapering in lovely. In the nose, I've got the toe release, which I've got to clear out and gain access to. Can't cut at that angle. But I've stuffed it full of blue tack, not blue tack, yeah, blue tack. So as the fiberglass didn't go in there, so I can just cut the glass out and then dig the blue tack out with a pointy thing. The scalpel's going blunt now. Okay guys, so that's part 11 complete. I'll stop here, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the next video. It might be starting the wings, but Christmas is coming up fast now. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you all had a great Christmas, and we're looking forward to the new year. So I'll see you then. Cheers guys, bye.